Hello students, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So we will discuss routing in wireless sensor networks. We completed uh, medium access control in wireless sensor network. We took two protocols. We discussed about SMAC and TMAC. And similarly, if you like, you can go through some more protocols to understand. Otherwise, the spirit of the discussion was how wireless sensor networks medium access control is more important from the context of energy saving. Okay, so remaining or many, there are many protocols, many such protocols which play around the same fact. Okay, so we will discuss. If you have no questions, then we can move on to the routing aspect. Okay. So, as we said that, as we said that, sink or base station. Okay. So these are the end nodes. Okay, end nodes. These are the end nodes, or we can say they are the sensor nodes. Okay, they are the sensor nodes, and these nodes have the capability of sensing, processing, and transmitting. Okay, and they are all communicating to sink or base station. So if we uh, allow these end nodes, we know that these end nodes are resource poor. Resource poor in the sense that they are limited, they have limited energy, they have limited radio transmission power, like that. So if the distance between end nodes and sink node is large, in that case end nodes cannot cannot communicate with sink in one hop. Or otherwise, even if they are capable, if we keep their radio power level high, then these end nodes will exhaust their energy quickly, right? So for these reasons, 1 minute. हाँ अम्बर जी बोलिए. हाँ क्लास ले रहा हूँ, बोलिए. हाँ 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock. हाँ ठीक, राइट. So um, So in order to conserve the energy, again end nodes transmission power, radio power are deliberately kept low, and these end nodes are allowed to communicate with the remote sink or base station in multi-hop manner. Okay, multi-hop manner. So this is one thing. So one thing is that end nodes communicate with sink in multi-hop manner. Okay, in multi-hop manner. So this is end node, and these may work as a relay nodes. Okay, relay nodes for these end nodes, in the sense that the data received by these intermediate nodes will forward towards the sink. In that sense, they are relay nodes. Sometimes these nodes can act as relay node as well as sensor nodes. Okay, as well as sensor nodes, which means they are capable of performing the function of a sensor node as well as the functionality of forwarding the packets received from its neighbors, right? So is this clear? So end nodes communicate with sink in multi-hop manner. This is the first thing. Second thing is that it can happen that in applications, it can happen that the applications may send a query. Applications can send query. What kind of query it is? Let's suppose this application sends a query to understand the temperature. What is the temperature in this area? Temperature in this area. Right? So the query can be like that. What is the temperature in a particular area? So in that case, what happens? The query after processing here at the sink node or base station or any node capable of processing that query, that gets disseminated into the network. So let's suppose it has to go this way. Okay, it has to go this way, and this will sense, this node will sense the temperature in that area, and it will send back, and it will send back to the application. So that is how an application can interact with the sensing field to understand the various measurable parameters, or sometimes to understand the high level context of the scenario, underlying scenario. Correct? So meaning to say that there can be transmission of data from this end to the sink, okay, to sensor node to sink, and also at times there can be sink to nodes. So both the scenarios are possible, right? So second is that query commands issued by users or the sink have to travel multiple hops through network to fetch particular information, right? So we have seen that how the communication from end node to sink or base station, and from sink or base station to end node, takes place in multi-hop manner, right? Just through an example, scenario. So why, the question is why the routing mechanism, why routing is important here? Why routing is important here? Why routing is important here? Routing is important here similar to, the answer will be similar to the answer for the question why routing is important in a wired network. Okay, obviously to have a shortest path. Shortest path in terms of smallest number of hops, small amount of delay, small amount of packet drop, like that. Various network related metrics, performance metrics can be attributed to estimate the best cost path for routing the data from source to sink or sink to source, sink to end node. Correct? Now the next question comes up is that why the routing mechanisms meant for wireline and also for mobile ad hoc network cannot be used in wireless sensor network. Why there is a need for another? What uniqueness do the wireless sensor networks have so that the existing routing mechanisms cannot be applied to wireless sensor networks, right? So the answer is wireless sensor networks have some unique constraints, and application requirements that makes the routing mechanisms meant for wireline and mobile ad hoc networks not usable for wireless sensor networks, right? Now, what are these unique constraints and application requirements? Okay, what is that? So the first thing is that, you know, wireless links are unreliable. Right? Which means that once you find out a path, right, and that path, the validity of that path may not remain the same, right, because of variation in link quality, or there may be the link may be lost due to death of a node, right? For example, if this node dies, then there is no link from this to this or other part, right? So this is unreliable. Second is that high bit error rate. High bit error rate, right? What is bit error rate? Students, what is bit error rate? Students, what is bit error rate?
Bits that are error per total number of bits in transmission that went.
Yes. Yes. So you understand what is bit error rate?
Yes, sir.
So in wireline, what is the bit error rate? It is low or high?
So high.
In wireline.
So low. So low.
Low, right? In wireline, bit error rates are low, and in wireless, in any wireless medium, the bit error rate is high, right? Because there is a link breakage. Continuous, consistent connectivity does not prevail That is why the bit error rates are more. Second thing, the noise, the wireless channels are more prone to exposure to noise. Okay, that's why the bit error rates are high. Fine. And the third one is that there can be asymmetric link. There can be asymmetric link between neighbors. What is this asymmetric link? What is this asymmetric link? A to B is not same as B to A in terms of link. Link from A to B is not same as link from B to A. Whereas symmetric, A to B is similar to B to A. Right? How do we see this? How do we see this? How do we see this? Let's suppose you have node 1 and node 2. Okay, and both the nodes are overlapping. Let's suppose, in the sense that in their communication range they are overlapping. Okay, let's say this is 2's communication range. Okay, and 1's communication range is this. Okay, so what happens? What happens? You have you see there is overlapping in communication range. That's the reason. That's the reason. This is overlapping. Right? So there is overlap. So this is your symmetric link. And in asymmetric case, how will it look like? The otherwise. Such as, suppose you have 2 okay, 2 and let's say 1. It's 1 here. It's 1 here. And it's 1 here. Okay, so what you see here is that is that because 2 is in 1's range, this way it is possible. This way it is possible. This way it is not possible. Correct? So this is asymmetric link. Asymmetric link. So in wireless sensor network, there can be asymmetric link between neighbors. Asymmetric link between neighbors. You can see from here. Suppose you see it has communication range up to this. Okay, it has or let me write the other way. It has communication range from here. Okay, so if you see source to sink, if you see any source to sink, the sink is a resourceful device. This may reach to any node in the network in one hop. The sink can reach to any node in the network in just one hop. But for the end nodes to reach the sink node, it is not the same multi-hop fashion it can reach. So we say that it is asymmetric link example. Okay, so example of asymmetric link can be sink can reach any node in the network, whereas the end node can reach the sink in multiple hops. Can reach any node in the network in one hop. Okay, so sink can reach any node in the network in one hop, whereas end node can reach the sink in multiple hops. So this means there is an asymmetric link between sink and end node. This is one example, and as you said that this kind of asymmetric link can also be possible between neighbors. Right? This you need to keep in mind. So this is another unique constraint in wireless sensor network. And the fourth is, obviously we studied limited energy, limited bandwidth, limited computing, etc. Okay, and fifth, they are not fault tolerant. They cannot tolerate the fault. If a node collapses, then it might lead to network partition. Okay, the other part of the network may not be reachable, or maybe have to follow a longer path, much longer path. Right, so they are not very fault tolerant. So next, data aggregation. Data aggregation. So look at this diagram. Look at this diagram. So let's suppose हाँ सर क्लास ले रहा हूँ सर, क्लास होते हाँ ठीक सर, ठीक राइट. Right? Let's suppose one application wants to know, let's suppose this is a room. This is a room. This is a room. Okay, this is a large room, large hall, or maybe you can say that it's warehouse. Let's suppose it's a warehouse. Now at different places in the warehouse, the sensor nodes are deployed to understand the different environmental conditions inside the warehouse. Okay, so let's suppose this each end node is equipped with a temperature sensor, light sensor, and humidity sensor. What is it? Temperature, light, and humidity. Each sensor is equipped with. So an application, the warehouse manager sitting outside the warehouse or somewhere, it wants to know that in one corner of this warehouse, what is the ambient condition? What is the ambient condition? So it sends a request, it sends a query that what is the ambient condition in particular location of the warehouse, within the warehouse at some particular location. So what it sends the geographic location, the coordinates around which it wants to know, the user wants to know, and the query is about ambient condition, right? So ambient condition, let's suppose. Ambient condition it wants to know. So ambient condition means it will be combination of temperature, light, and humidity, right? So suppose there is a fire or there is an increase in temperature. So the temperature will parameter will record higher data, higher measurement, right? And there may not be fire. Or if there is a fire, humidity level will go down. You can see the relation between temperature, light, and humidity. Suppose there is a fire. Temperature will go up, okay, and lighting will go up, but always going temperature up and light up does not necessarily mean that there is a fire. So oxygen level has to come down, humidity level has to come down. So there are multiple parameters which can be put together to comprehend that there is a fire, right? So multiple sensors in this area will sense these parameters, okay, these parameters, and they process together. So this will also read some data, this will read some measurement, this will read some measurement, and they will be processed at some point, and then the high level understanding of the data will be transmitted, right? So fire. So they will process among themselves and they will say that there is a fire or no fire, and that will be sent to the application. So what the application user had sent, what is the ambient condition in a particular area within the warehouse. Now after measuring the parameters, the algorithm says that whether there is a fire or there is no fire, right? So for this to happen, the data are aggregated at one point, and the aggregated data are processed to understand the high level context of the data or the measurements, right? So that is why we require data aggregation. Fine. Or another simple example can be, what is the average temperature during that period? So the temperature are measured at periodically, and they are statistically averaged, and just send the average information, average data is sent to the. So for that, data aggregation has to take place. So where the data aggregation will take place, that's a different thing. Students, are you following? I am taking application examples alongside to understand how critical or how different, in what way the wireless sensor network is unique from the conventional network. And so then we will say that why the routing mechanisms will not fit and why the newer algorithms are required. So I am taking that approach. And we have also discussed data reporting, right? Data reporting, that periodically if the sensor nodes need to report the data to the application, then we say that is as a time driven, that after how much period, okay, periodical, after how much period the data need to be sent from end nodes to the sync node. So that's a time driven. So it's periodical. Okay, and other can be event driven. Other can be event driven. For example, if temperature is greater than 90°C, send a signal to alarm, right? This can be an example of event driven. So this event has happened, so sensor is continuously sensing, and whenever the temperature is exceeding 90°C, it raises a signal and transmits it, which in turn actuates the alarm, saying that there's a fire or there's a temperature, air conditioner need to be turned on or something, right? So that is event driven. Then another type of data reporting can be query driven, that we just discussed. Query driven, that a query comes from the application or base station or sync node to be executed at the designated area and responded to. So that's a query driven. Whenever a query comes, the end nodes report, right? And the last one is the hybrid. It can be a combination of all of this or the above. Fine. Then the last one is due to the network dynamics. The network dynamics and heterogeneity. And the heterogeneity, right? We can say that it is related to node movement, node failure, link failure, etc. Right? So we can say that mobility of nodes, node movements, comma, you can say the node failures, or you can say link failures. All these are responsible for changing the topology of network or network dynamics. Okay. So because of these unique characteristics or constraints, okay, and the applications have their own requirements, the routing mechanisms for wireless sensor networks are a bit different, right? Are a bit different. Any questions, students?
No, sir.
So classification of routing protocols in wireless sensor networks. So routing based on the action taken, based on the place of action taken, okay, or I mean we can say the timeline, not the place. It is the action taken at the time of action taken. So we have proactive, then reactive, then hybrid. Okay, so proactive is something routes computed by the nodes when they are needed, right? Beforehand. Proactive means it's beforehand. Before the transmission begins, the routes are already formed. Okay, so obviously the benefit of proactive route management is that the communication experiences less delay, right? But if it is reactive, then whenever data transmission has to take place, then only routes will be searched. So that's why the name reactive. And obviously the delay experienced in reactive mechanism, reactive routing protocols are more than the proactive routing protocols, right? And hybrid is a combination of them. But why proactive routing mechanisms will not be very suitable in case of wireless sensor networks? Because once you compute the route, and since there are network, there can be node movements, there can be node failures, there can be link failure, right? So the node that the route already estimated may not remain valid for the subsequent transmission. So proactive routing protocols may not be always suitable. Clear? So reactive is route is on demand. This is on demand. This is whenever they are needed, and hybrid is a mix of that. Fine. Any questions here?
Sir, can you please repeat hybrid one?
Hybrid is a combination of reactive, proactive, and reactive. You want any example of that for that?
Yes, sir. Please.
Okay. Suppose a delay sensitive application is there. Delay sensitive query comes. Suppose a delay sensitive query, because queries are always associated with QoS. Okay, queries are always associated with QoS. Let's suppose the QoS parameter is the time. So with minimum time, the query need to be answered. So your base station sends the query, and a particular node executes this query, and then it has to be sent, because time is the constraint here. So that time it can use proactive. That time it can use proactive routing, right? And during normal time it can use reactive time, because the data to be sent are not time constrained. So normal time पे reactive routing use करेगा, जब भी कोई query related कोई आएगा, task आएगा, उस समय proactive routing use करेगा. ठीक है?
Yes, sir.
So it will be using it will be housing both the kinds of routing. But जब query related आएगा तब proactive use करेगा. जब normal data transmission होगा, ये था ना data reporting वाला जो था, event driven अगर है, time driven है, तो वो reactive routing use करेगा. और event driven है, कुछ भी हो गया है मान लो, तो immediately it has to go. See this one, immediately go. So उस समय proactive routing. So एक reactive routing में, हाँ, एक hybrid में हम क्या कर सकते हैं? It can be combination of time driven and event driven.
Okay, sir.
Clear?
Yes, sir.
Students, और किसी का कोई query? Okay. Then, based on the network structure, it can be flat or hierarchical. It can be flat or hierarchical. Okay, flat or hierarchical. So what are flat? Flat routing models are given equal roles and functionality. Flat means there is no hierarchical responsibilities. Responsibility wise, there is no node is superior to the other. So every node is the same. So all have the same role So all are given the same role, okay, and functionality. Right? So all nodes are given the same role and functionality. But what is the demerit of flat network architecture structure? If the network is too large, having thousands of nodes, then flat organization is not good. From the viewpoint of manageability, right? In such scenarios, hierarchical network structures are followed. In hierarchical structure means it will be like this. It can be like this, or there can be clusters. Okay, there can be clusters, cluster, and each cluster will have cluster head, ch, okay, and each cluster will have several other nodes within them, several other sensor nodes within them. Several other sensor nodes, and the communication happens among these cluster heads, okay, and within the cluster, all these end nodes report to them. Correct? So this way, a large network are split into several clusters, groups, several clusters or groups, so that cluster to cluster within cluster management and cluster to intra-cluster, inter-cluster and intra-cluster management becomes easier, right? It's easier. Then there are different protocols available, that how cluster heads are chosen, and how a cluster is formed. This, that, we don't discuss at this moment, but we just try to understand that from routing in network based on network structure, it is divided into two parts. One is flat and the other is hierarchical organization. Okay, so in this hierarchical, nodes are grouped. Okay, together based on roles. Fine, based on roles. And third one is routing based on I will say the data centric routing, and there are many, right? One is the SPIN. SPIN stands for Sensor Protocol for Information via Negotiation. SPIN, then Directed Diffusion, then your rumor is another protocol, then your what is that, minimum cost forwarding, and there can be gradient based mechanism, etc. Right? So this is how the routing protocols in wireless sensor network are classified. Any questions, students? Shall we continue or next class? Students,
I will discuss data centric.
we'll discuss. Yes, we will discuss data centric. First, we'll discuss the spin protocol. No, my question was that shall we continue discussion or we'll go for next class on Friday? Okay, fine, okay. I'll take attendance. Wait. I think everyone is present, right? Except Pratik.
Yes, sir.
Pratik is there? Pratik is not coming. Okay then, I think everyone is present. Let me just check. Tulya, Bharat, Bibas, Chandrabas, Harshit, Pragya, Shashat, Tanvi, Ujjal, Month. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let me take a pic of it. 7, 7, 8. Just a minute. That's fine. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.